Talking with Kevin Harlan from CBS NFL on CBS and Westwood One on where we are now coming down the stretch of the final four teams. You have to be surprised by Tennessee or not of the four, or is this about what you expected as the season was rounding down?
Well, it seems like everyone's talking, Brad, about just the way that Tennessee has won, and then going back and said, well, of course, dummy, this is exactly the way it should be done. You run the ball and you play defense, right? I mean, like, we've heard that since you and I were little guys and first reading about football and playing touch football in the backyard. I mean, that's what it's always been. It's running the ball and managing a game, and that's how Green Bay won with Bart Starr. That's how Terry Bradshaw won in Pittsburgh, and really the passing game is taking on, it's the flashy part of it, but it's not really the guts. And I know that there's a kind of a suppression of the importance of running backs and running games and everything else. But listen, Green Bay wouldn't be where they are if they didn't have a running back that was over 1,000 yards, and Seattle wouldn't have been where they were without Chris Carson running for 1,200 yards and the three-headed monster that's in San Francisco. I mean, just go on and on. I mean, all these teams have got some kind of viable running game that makes a difference. And really the only one of the three that remains that probably doesn't is Kansas City. Now, they've had a mishmash of running backs, and they've had to go deep into the recesses of the Rolodex to call guys off the street and sign them because of injury and just ineffective play. They've just not really had anybody that's been a prominent running back, but they've got a quarterback who's very unique and some three elite stars that can catch the ball. So they're kind of a little bit in a different category. But the other teams have all been heavily reliant, especially Tennessee. And remember, Tennessee was 2-4,
right?
And they made the change at quarterback. They benched their Heisman Trophy winner and a high draft pick in Marcus Mariota, and they brought in Ryan Tannehill, who they traded for in the offseason. I get all that. But he was there really to kind of back up Mariota, and that was kind of the thought. There was no promise that he could try for the starting role. And then when Mariota wasn't really moving things, and Vrabel made the move, and Tannehill took over, and voila! I mean, here we are. They're in the championship game of the AFC, and they've done it with defense. They haven't put a lot on the quarterback's shoulders, and they've got a stud running back who's kind of once in a generation guy with that size. So you've got to run it. There's got to be a component of that. It's got to complement the passing game. And if you don't have a running game, by God, you better have special people at other positions. Few teams can have that many special people, but all teams can somehow generate a running game, and that's what Tennessee has done all the way to these shocking wins over the last couple weeks. It's amazing to see where they are. But the win over Baltimore was just stunning to me. I'm just shocked that they are where they are. But here we see them, and it's going to be fun to watch them in the championship game at Arrowhead.
Which game are you doing, Kevin, this weekend?
I've got the Kansas City-Tennessee game. They gave me a chance last night to pick, and I grew up in Green Bay, but I broadcast the Chiefs for 9 years, and our family is still back in Kansas City, and the Chiefs have a chance to go back, Brad, to the Super Bowl for the first time in 50 years. And so I chose that. I don't know if there's a great difference between the games, but I think that Tennessee's a pretty hot story, and Mahomes now is kind of being anointed the next great quarterback. Both games have got great appeal, but we chose Kansas City really almost basically because my family's from there, and it'll be kind of fun to see if they would make it for the first time in 50 years back to the big game.
That's awesome. We'll let you go off that. I appreciate your time as always. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Great to be on with you. Take care.